I never ever thought that I would even get out of my own country. I'm American. I'm sorry. I figured I would lead with that. My name is Rand0h, also Danny, if you've known me for long enough. Before I get into any of this, well, first of all, I do have a. Are you working or no? Maybe, maybe not. Here we go. I ruined it. Pretend you didn't see that. I hate bio slides. I hate putting my face up there because you can see me up here, and this is more than enough already. So I figured I would put my favorite animals up here, including that one. Yeah, Rand0h, Danny, if you're Gab Smash, hey, dipshit. That's also something I answer to. I do work at Coalfire in their division, Heck Cyber Division. I have to mention that because they're the ones who sent me out here in such style. So if any of my bosses are going to watch this later, thank you, Coalfire. We appreciate it. And professional hyperfixator. That's kind of how this started. And I'm going to get into the genesis of the Who Slide badge. But before I get into any of the lore, any of the story behind this, and to be sure, I'm going to go over the electronic parts of the badge and how it works and why it works and things like that. But this talk is primarily about community, which I think you all understand because you're here at this absolutely wonderful event. Gabs and I have seen some super half-assed events that we've went to before, and for a second year, this is top-notch. Before I go any further, can I please get a round of applause for the organizers? I think this was amazing. And I will name all my pets. That's Dilly, Cliffany, Raz for Raspberry Pi. That's Lucy Roo. Ball Bag, I think is his name. Ginger Cunt, thank you. I was like 5 minutes in, I got to say it already. That's amazing. But yeah, I want to do thank yous up front. A lot of people do thank yous at the end. But I don't want to bury the lead on this because this is about community. And I could not have made this silly little badge as my first one without an absolute army of people. I'm really bad. Okay, there we go. This is when I first found out I was coming here. I'm 44 years old, had never been out of my own country until about 3 weeks ago. We went to Costa Rica for the first time. Had never been off my own continent. And I never wanted to be that ignorant American that didn't go see other cultures. So I was so stoked when this came up. By accident, this is like 3 or 4 years ago, I was having an event. That's my garage, AKA my barn. My wife loves blue. And I painted this, and I posted it online. And Zephyr's like, man, you must really miss me. I was like, well, what do you mean? So yes, I totally intentionally painted my barn door like the Scottish flag. And that's the end of pandering for right now. I'm also on a horrible amount of jet lag, so if I sound a little unsteady, that's why. I could not have done any of this. Anything that I've done in the almost 20 years of being in the hacker community, working with DEF CON, working with various other conferences, volunteering, speaking, without an army of friends that I've had behind me. I guess, if I show of hands real quick, has anybody here ever been to DEF CON? Okay, cool. So you'll understand a little bit of this. Anybody who hasn't been to DEF CON, heard of Badge Life? Know what that is? Show of hands. All right, awesome. A little bit more, so I'll explain that too. But from these are all the people that helped me through my journey of I know exactly jack shit to making a fully functioning badge, going through production, going through different prototypes. Couldn't have done it. That's Blenster, by the way. If you have never heard of Blenster, also Mr. Blinky Bling, he has so many tutorials. This dude is the epitome of working for the community. Hiron from Andexor, one dark one who has done the artwork for the badge. My buddy Trevor, who has made a few badges. Dr. Russ. Jamie's Hack Shack, by the way. If you're sitting at the end of this talk and going, you know what? That sounds kind of cool. I think I would really like to do that. One, hackerboxes.com, and I'll have that link at the end. Jamie's Hack Shack is a YouTube channel. He does unboxings for each of the hacker boxes. Absolutely invaluable, which is just another extension of community of making the content to help people who might not have seen it before. Absolute legend. I love Jamie. and my buddy Wick, who is responsible for me being in hacking at all. So how are we going to do this? Loose agenda. I'm going to go over the lore. There's a lot of lore that leads up to why the fuck would I even make this thing? It's so silly. What kind of sparked that thing? Because sometimes it takes kind of a severe thing to be like, I'm going to get out of my usual routine and I'm going to try something new, no matter how often I'd like to hang myself while I'm doing it because I don't feel like enough. The preparation, the prototype, the design, the logistics of actually shipping this thing and creating it and getting it made, the fact that it wasn't even ready until the Sunday before I flew to DEF CON. And then lessons learned. We all like success stories. We all like, oh, I totally own this. This was amazing. But I think we like fail stories more. I think we like I fucked this up so badly, I'm never going to financially recover. That happened about 4 times during this. Wrap up Q&A if you guys have any questions. So let's get going. First, the lore. What the fuck is Whose Slide Is It Anyway? This is an old contest. It's actually a really old sales technique for the salespeople in the room or anybody unlucky enough to have worked with sales before. Sometimes called slideshow roulette, where you take slide decks that people have never seen before and make them present them like they created them. It is absolutely maddening to do this. It takes a lot of balls to do this. We do it with memes. And this is all of the DEF CONs that we have done since DEF CON 24, all the way to just, what was it, a week ago that we were there? Also not helping the jet lag, Vegas, home, laundry, put the laundry back in the suitcase, Glasgow. Totally fucking worth it, by the way. I think you guys are amazing. So yeah, we just celebrated our 10-year anniversary. And this is kind of how it started. We're always listed under Hacker Jeopardy. Anybody here hear of Hacker Jeopardy before? Yeah. I'm trying to get Lintile out here next year to do this conference because I think he would love it. And I think this was like our year 2 where they just kind of put us in whatever room that they can find for us, and whoever wants to come see us will come and play. We have contestants sign up. Really no rules to speak of. They change all the time. And this picture up here is important. For the person who organizes this absolutely stupid contest, the first time that you guys see the slides, like you'll see them tonight, we're doing it at the after party, the first time you see them is the first time I'm seeing them. I don't QA shit. My guys do. That is a Jedi Day, and this is a Dade. This contest would be nowhere without them. And one other very important person, which goes to the lore of the badge and why I made it, was my friend Aaron. Aaron passed away a couple of years ago from cancer, but he was one of the people who thought up the stupid, and I'm going to talk about the gong in just a second. And I think it's important if you go forward and you do talks like this, to take a minute to remember those that came before you and to celebrate your fellow hackers. Because I think if lockdown, I don't know how it was here in the UK, probably equally as shitty as it was in the US. You don't know when you're going to see your friends again. But he was the epitome of a hacker artist. He absolutely pushed everybody to do their best. He was a brilliant, brilliant mad scientist, so that was Aaron. Now we're going to go into, okay, hopefully this plays. Oh, shit. Yeah, no, I got it. Don't fuck it up. Maybe, yes?
Get a gong!
Okay. You know what? Tempting of the demo gods, this is what happens. So this badge is based on our gong. We have a 4-foot gong that we ship to Las Vegas every year. We started to realize that it takes about $1,200 to do that, so now we have 2 gongs. One gets stored in Vegas, and one is in my house that everybody can see in my company meetings. The idea started very stupidly enough. When we first had this contest, and this is where I always encourage, just fucking send it. If you have an idea to do something, don't just do it half-assed. Send that shit as hard as you can. Ours was, let's get a gong, because we think it would be funny to hit the gong to get people off of the stage. Little handheld one, thought it was funny. They kept giving us bigger and bigger rooms. And soon we're like, well, nobody's going to hear this. This sucks. We're not going to use this anymore. But we always thought, how stupid would it be to have a symphonic gong etched with memes that we could use for our stupid, silly little contest? So about 3 years ago, are you going to play again? Maybe? Yes?
Okay, I think
I
think we're ready to go. What do you guys think?
I'll let you guys watch it.
Let's get this shit over with. What the fuck? Yeah. I've always wanted a gong!
My dumbass
Whoever
thought,
brought that, I love one of our
by coincidence,
one of our
somebody else
first
had a
show
gong.
was
That had
DEFCON
nothing to do
25.
with me.
And I thought it would be cool to buy like one of those little gongs you can hold. Yeah. You have no idea how happy that makes me. And we tried to hit it from up here, and the only people that could hear it were the people on the stage. So I'm like, all right, well, fuck it. There's actual monks walking. Oh shit.
This is where you see in my face, I have no fucking idea what's happening.
I don't know what this is.
Those are my judges. You'll see some of the judges tonight judging our contest later.
No, I don't. No, I don't.
Those are approximately 4 of my idiot friends in monk's robes coming up the aisle.
Okay.
I was a bit emotional over it.
Crying in baseball?
I'm really trying not to. Okay. So the gongs, whose side is it anyway? What? I'm sorry, like, it's not you, like, I really like hearing myself talk, but I don't have anything to say right now. You guys are, wow, it's okay, thank you. I don't know, there's really nothing else I don't know how to say right now. Like, who came up, did you come up with this?
I came up with this last year at Wild West Hacking Fest. Because we were sitting at the bar and you're like,
Here, no, go to the mic so people can hear.
yeah. So you were sitting at the bar and you're like, I don't know if we've been doing this too long, if people are still into this show, and we got the heckling section going with Seaman.
Yes, yes, always with Seaman, it's always a crowd pleaser.
And we were sitting there after the bar and I'm like, I have to do something, not just for Who's Slide, but for Rand0h, because of how much he puts into this community as a goon, as a mentor, as a friend, as someone who throws this thing on every year. Because you got too much stuff going on.
Absolutely ridiculous.
And my stupid ass is like, oh, it didn't occur to me that, like, it just was somebody's gong that they had and just fucking brought it for some reason. I was like, well, that's a coincidence. All right, let's fucking do this. All right, all right, I don't know what I'm doing.
Now you have a new disqualification rule.
Oh, okay, apparently now we have some more rules in place. Our rules really exist as we decide them. So bribes are allowed. People bribe us all year long to come up here. And judges are allowed to make them. And whoever brings me a fucking live gong, like a life-size gong, can make whatever rule they want. So what's your adjustment?
That's how you disqualify people.
We get to disqualify people with a fucking gong. I'm fucking on top of the world!
Lost all verbal faculty at this point.
All right.
Here's your hammer.
Oh, I get the hammer?
Oh my God, the stage.
I'm cradling the mallet, yeah. So we evolved from this stupid little thing to this. And I managed to keep it on the stage right behind when the head of DEF CON, Dark Tangent, was giving a talk. So he didn't endorse the gong, but he looks like he did. So that's kind of how it started and how it's going, and now we have 2 of them. So now you have the backstory. This backstory was important as I go through the design of the badge. So how did it start? In the beginning, there was this. That was the design. Anybody that thinks, as you're creating, as you have an idea, that you have to have some grand gesture and you have to have this amazing artistic ability. That's a fucking napkin. And that's what I thought like a resin bubble would look like. I am not an artist, but that's how any really good idea starts. I'm pretty sure this was a good idea. People have said that they liked it. So in the beginning, this is how a thing can start, and that's how a thing ends. I'm actually wearing it right now. You guys might not be able to hear it in the back, but it cycles through. I'm going to go through all the little things. So I really liked this slide when I put it together. I forgot that I had that picture of the drawing, because like, that's how your thing starts. Just write something down, draw it out. You don't have to have talent to do it, but get the idea out so you can start working. And then show it to your asshole friends who will encourage you to do the stupid thing that, again, may very well financially ruin you if you do it wrong. And then we go to, I'm going to show you the gong. This is the Who Slide 10-year anniversary gong. And I'll walk you through it a little bit. It went from that stupid, and like, it kind of resembles the one that was on the napkin. But it's a replica of the gong with all of the memes. Hey, Rand0h, what do the memes mean? Absolutely fucking nothing. He picked a bunch of them. 3 buttons, 24 LEDs, as somebody on Twitter pointed out, a horribly overpowered speaker. But when the point is to play a gong, you want it as big as you can without overpowering the badge. This is custom artwork from Rand0h. She's based out of New Jersey in the US. Does amazing artwork, has done artwork for most of the major conferences over in the States. I'm not sure if she's done any over in your side of the pond. But if you ever want good artwork, she is a hacker's hacker, so Rand0h is amazing. This is, as you saw earlier, my buddy Aaron. That's Grifter. Does anybody know Grifter from DEF CON? Okay, well, Grifter is like one of the big showrunners. He's one of the reasons that we're a thing. Bia Scilab runs DEF CON Next Gen for kids. She was our youngest winner, first winner of our first year. She was 8 years old when she won. Should I have had an 8-year-old play this stupid contest with all sorts of offensive memes? Maybe not. Her dad said it was fine, so I thought it was fine. And of course, El Quintaro, another friend of mine, who famously fell asleep during Who Slide number 3. I like to have my friends on stage. I like to include my community and people who help me. To the detriment of the contest, where I should have 5 judges, I had about 21 judges that year. It took a long fucking time, so he fell asleep. And I actually shot these videos today because it's a little badge, and you guys probably can't see it. So this is actually what it sounds like.
Hack the planet! Hack the planet!
Song 1. Why Thundercats? No reason. It's what I had on when I was drawing some of the designs.
It's all just electrons.
Just wait.
Never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down, never gonna run around and desert you.
And I rickrolled Glasgow, so now I can die happy. And there's a secret song, but I wanted to show you guys this one.
Don't say anything bad, because they might hear it when I do the presentation.
That's the song that turns on Wi-Fi for a secret web server where you can see some blogs. I thought that was funny. And once you get to the web server, there's some other clues for a couple other secret songs, and there might be 1 or 2 challenges on there. So cool. How did you do all that? A lot of people ask me. I ended up selling about 120 of them at DEF CON this year. I don't know, man. Like, it's simple, really. Just draw some circles and then draw the rest of the fucking owl. It couldn't be further from this, but I love that meme a lot. So how did this get started? One can only doom scroll so much. It was right around, and this is where like inspiration comes from the weirdest places. So don't ever discount things that you're thinking of or experiences that you're going through and think it can't spawn creativity for something that you want to do. It's 2020. We hadn't locked down quite yet, and it was Christmas time. My company was pretty much shutting down for the year. So I bought the 1989 Batwing to put together from Lego. And then I caught COVID for the first time. When you have a thing that's a quarter done and your brain doesn't function, it was a Herculean effort just to get downstairs to put this thing together. But fast forward, I put it together, and a couple years later, a friend of mine was like, hey, let's do a Secret Santa. I was like, well, shouldn't I not know who you are? She's like, don't fucking worry about that. Let's just buy each other's things. So she bought me an LED kit for the 1989 Batwing, which I then promptly let sit for 3 years in a drawer. And then last September, so it's almost a year now, I finally found my limit of doom scrolling. Couldn't do it anymore, wanted to do something else. Saw the kit as I was cleaning out a desk. And I'm still fucking proud of this, but I did it. It took me far too long to put together. But I thought that was cool. Other people have asked me, why did you want to put so many goddamn LEDs on your badge? Pure spite. I mentioned hacker boxes before. They had this really cool box called Tessellate, which is an icosahedron, which is comprised of 20-some panels with 6 LEDs each. And I beat the shit out of myself trying to figure out how to surface mount LEDs, and I finally got really good at it. Obviously, I was proud enough to make an Instagram video about it. And when you turn it, it turns things. I ended up being the star on my Christmas tree that year. Kind of like how you would put a head on a pike on a bridge to celebrate defeating an enemy. That's what I did. But then that was done. And I said, okay, what else can I do? Well, I have a bunch of hacker boxes laying around to the tune of about 30 of them. Because I love collecting shit, but I don't like doing anything with it. And I was like, well, let me start. And over the years, I had, I'm going to abandon this clicker pretty soon. I had started collecting certain things. Like I had a mat, I had a soldering iron, I had some miscellaneous. So I started on my kitchen table with, I forget what box number that was, horribly butchered it. Like anybody else would be like, maybe this just isn't for me. But I kept at it, and then I started kind of getting better. As you do with most things. I tell my 11-year-old son this all the time. He's such a perfectionist, but he gets very annoyed when he is not perfect immediately. Anybody else have that feeling where you think if you're not good immediately, like you suck forever? Awesome, just me. Maybe it's an American thing. I thought I had to be perfect. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to keep going with this. I want him to see that perseverance actually matters. So got a little bit more stuff. And I got a little bit more stuff. You can see that God-forsaken tessellate thing. Then I got a little more stuff. You can see how shit starts escalating. That's what it looks like now. King of rabbit holes. I love doing it. I took over our entire dining room. That's literally what my room looks like before I flew out here as I was preparing the thing. So when you really get into a thing, lean into it, because you're going to do some pretty cool things, I think. So preparation and prototypes. How does this now we're going to get into the actual badge stuff. I covered the lore. I covered how I got there, kind of how my brain works. And I say all of that hopefully to inspire maybe 1 or 2 people of like, oh, I've wanted to start that thing. It doesn't have to be this. It could be anything. I thought about doing that, but like I didn't put pen to paper, or I just haven't gotten used to it yet. Do the thing. But I'm not a developer. Never have been. I can't code for shit. What was I going to say? This has Claude in it. Oh, disclaimer. I use Claude to vibe code it. I use Claude to help teach me the holes that I was missing in my knowledge, and I don't think anybody should look down on somebody who does that. You should still be able to describe what your project does. I should not have to go and ask you, like, hey, what's your thing do? Oh, I don't know, the robots wrote it. Unacceptable. Claude is a great tool in your arsenal, but know when to actually do it on your own. So I started very simply. I made a dev folder just for all of my GitHub repos. I started with Claude.ai, and then I went to Claude Code, which is, by the way, insanely helpful if you have to manipulate local files. So you don't have to like keep going back and forth to Claude AI. GitHub repos. I can finally say that I have about 13 or 15 up there right now just from miscellaneous shit that I did. Because you'll be surprised when you're doing the project that you're doing and you get really into it, how quickly you can escalate. Oh, and now I want to try this. What about this? Now I want to try my hand at this. It's intoxicating, quite honestly, when you start scratching that technical itch and good things are going to come from it. So that was kind of like setting the stage, right? That's got my desktop and stuff all together. Why do I suck at this? And this is actually like the first demo parts that I bought. Took a picture of it. I was like, here we go. This is going to be cool. Fuck, it was hard. That was a little blinky thing. That was the first time I ever made a little blinky thing for my badge, and I thought that was neat. Maybe it was only neat to me. Side quest, breadboarding. If you have any interest in this, I never understood breadboarding, really. It was beyond me. But when you're prototyping a thing, breadboarding is absolutely crucial. That's going to teach you, does my concept actually hold water without having to solder a goddamn thing? Breadboarding is awesome. I highly recommend, and I have a link for it at the end. It's a web series from DigiKey, I believe, that just goes through breadboarding, one by one. Like, make one thing blink, make one thing make a sound. There's a ton of resources out there. And as you can see, it went through several different iterations. Once I realized I could connect the breadboards together, like, it was off to the races. This thing used to have a little hit sensor, so you would hit it and the gong would go. Scope creep is also a son of a bitch, like, know when to scale back. And then we go into the design. What do I want this thing to do? It was pretty low-key. I wanted to make some funny sounds, I wanted to blink some lights, and I wanted to have a couple of challenges on it. So these are the core components of the badge. It is run on an ESP32C3. It's a little microcontroller right on the back. It's very tiny, but very powerful. I haven't even scratched the surface of what it can do. To a max audio, hey, you know what? Spoiler alerts. Max audio, which then feeds into the LED chain that makes all the things go blinky blink. And this is how the audio signal chain goes. So these W25, these are, that is the flash memory. This has 8 megabytes of flash memory on it, enough for, if I downsampled probably 12 to 15 songs, there's only probably about 5 or 6 on it. And then to the ESP32, which goes to the max audio, which downsamples all of the songs so they can fit on here, and they still sound pretty amazing, all the way out to the speaker. The song lives in the flash chip, the ESP32 reads it out, clocks it over to the amp, and the amp drives the speaker. That's exactly how this works. Very, very simple on paper until you actually try to do it. Another graphic I thought was cool, like, what does that flash memory map look like? Like, how does it actually live on the chip itself? 5 total songs that are up there for the core songs. The first 25 people to buy my badge, I thought this was fun. And I included this because maybe it spawned some creativity in somebody else. First 25 people can pick a song of their choice. I had a whole shit ton. I actually made a Spotify playlist. Let's see, what do we have here? We go from Hadaway to some band called, I had never heard of these guys, Spandau Ballet. You guys familiar with them? There's somebody from England that wanted that. War Pigs, Tupac, and I programmed one of the second buttons to do their custom song. Now we go into the coding. I can read enough to like be dangerous. I can read enough Python, I can read some C, C++, but this is where I really relied on Claude to be like, here's the thing I want to do, help me do this. 764 lines of code, 44 functions, 63 defines, 5 track regions. Maybe 0 functional knowledge from the human is not totally fair, maybe like 10% functional knowledge. It's just such a powerful tool, and I encourage everybody to play with it at least once or twice. I mean, we really can't avoid it at this point, but it really filled in a lot of holes for me, and it allowed me to, my goal was to create something that would make people laugh, and make people smile, and maybe enjoy it a little bit. The not so fun part is the production logistics, things that I didn't think of really in the beginning, but like once you get everything in order, once everything works, then you have to start building the thing. And I just did a little breakdown. We did a production run of 125 badges. So if you ever think you want to do, or even if it's not like a badge, you just want to make like a little device or whatever, order more than you think you're going to need, because I promise you something is going to fuck up. Something's going to fry. I have a good fail story in here in a little bit. 125 production run, ran about $50 US per badge. I charged like 75. 22 unique parts, 80 per assembled unit, 10,000 total. It took us 3 times to get it right, which I think, not for nothing, is not that bad. Now we go to hindsight, shit that I wish I would have known before. Places that you're ordering from, do you need somebody to assemble it? And I'm going to tell you why I thought I could do this on my own and ended up very much not. Are the parts readily available? Tariffs might be a different situation over here, but they're a son of a bitch when you try to get them to the US. Especially if you think you got your whole order in and realize you forgot something. Double tariffs are not fun for anybody. How do you navigate sites like PCBWay? Again, tariffs. I tried to be funny in my ordering form. They don't understand American humor, or any, really, I think, because Blenster uses them a lot, and he was like, oh, tell him I said hello. So I put it in the comment section, and they responded, is this part of your bag? Like, what are you at? I was like, you know what, never mind. Just can I have my PCBs, please? This can be daunting, too. This is where a lot of the help comes from. Because when you go to sites like PCBWay and JLPCB, there are a lot of options to consider. So just one of the things that I fought with. I did eventually find a great assembly shop in Kansas City, in Kansas in the US. A friend of mine, or Blenster, knew they were standing up a brand new line. And they were awesome. I said, how much is it going to cost me, knowing it could be a couple $1,000s? And they're like, I don't know, a couple cases of beer. So I got them 4 cases of beer and a bottle of whiskey. Malmacet.com in Kansas City, for anybody who's watching this later in the US. They're fucking amazing. They sent me actually some pretty cool videos. If nobody's ever seen how this stuff actually works, I figured I would include them. This machine is the solder paste machine. It basically prints solder paste onto the little pads, allowing them to put components on. I thought that was neat. I had never seen it before. I thought maybe you guys would. And it goes through each badge, lays it out, measures the height to make sure that they're getting it in the right height. And then there is the pick and place machine, which will then pick all of the components and put it on there for the final soldering, baking, whatever they call it. When you order parts from these things, you can get something called a digital reel, which is just a reel of the components that are machine made ready so that they can just pick them. And luckily, again, community being clutch, a friend of mine lives in Kansas City and went to go QA the first one for me. Of course, the group chat I was in, it was like, all I saw was a supply chain attack. Now he expects credit in the slide. So I gave it to him. Thank you, Trent. Now we get to the fun part. Hopefully some of this has been entertaining so far. Dumb shit that I will try never to do again. Or as the normies call it, lessons learned. Over and over and over again. Everybody has a plan. I had a great one. Look at this, it's gorgeous. Phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. I had dates and everything. Claude helped me put this together. I felt so fucking confident. Everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the face. Hard to make out, because I fucked this up. Ready for DEF CON by June 1st. DEF CON in Las Vegas in the US was like the second week of August. Is that what we're in? Shit's flying by. And that's ready. Packed, built, stickers in it, ready to go. I had only put my second to final order in on July 5th. Case in point. I still had a lot of buffer space, but like, again, the best laid plans. Another very important lesson, I hit on it earlier. AI should just be one tool in a much larger arsenal. And that arsenal should include that community, because it truly takes a village to do stuff like this. Sometimes shit just doesn't compute, and you should not feel bad. I've been in this industry for almost 20 years now, and I had a slow uptake. There's so much, at least when I got in, everybody wanted you to know everything. You had to be a generalist. You don't know malware, but you're going for a threat hunting gig? Tough shit. You don't know how to reverse engineer. Why the fuck should I know that? I'm going to be staring at a dashboard all day. So I had a lot of gaps. Never really learned to code, never really learned a lot of the things to fill in. AI is incredibly powerful to make amazing things and to really get shit done. But you should still be able to explain your project. Use it, like I'm going to go back, this whole next year is going to be me going back through my own project to learn more about the stuff that I did. And I think that should always be the goal. And also, AI will hit a wall. Like when I had it create a schematic for me. That's what AI spit out. Now, for any of the uninitiated who haven't done PCBs before, that shit should not have been turned sideways all around. There's no logical fucking spot that all the traces should run in this. Now, I knew nothing. I was like, this looks great. Thanks, robot. Blendster took one look at it and was like, you asshole. And this is how it ended up looking. Nice LEDs around the side, everything where it should be. So take it with a grain of salt. The schematic. I thought this was great. I thought all this shit should be bunched up. How it ended up being with Blendster's help over many, many Zooms, many, many hours. But again, you will hit a wall where now you're going to be like, okay, well, where's my resolve? Do I really want to learn this? Yeah, this is fine. I mean, why would one have to read a schematic of things with electric in them? That's overrated. And this is the LED chain, by the way. Holy shit. Data sheets, data sheets, data sheets. I glossed over this. I was like, I'll figure it out. Like, this is fine. I ended up frying a bunch of components. Data sheets are there for a reason. They are there to make sure that you don't see the magic smoke when you don't want to. Case in point. This is what I said when something happened. All that bullshit we went through, all these hours of development, version 2, version 3, and I didn't even get any smoke. I just got shit not working. Little case study from my own thing. Certain components will have what they call certain packages, how the footprint of the component goes on the board. There's SMD, which is surface mounted. There's through hole, where you just put it through the hole and solder it on the other side. And then in those packages, on SMD, are things like QFN. I don't actually know what this stands for because it's so fucking evil, I didn't want to read about it anymore. I just call it quiet. Fuckery's next. This is Max. Max is an asshole. This is the Max audio chip. It wasn't really Max's fault. It was my fault, Blendster's fault, and we just didn't notice that we didn't have the right footprint because Claude hallucinated and had the pins ordered incorrectly. There are, on some badges, and again, I'm very new at this, but as I understand, our badge had a 5-volt rail that powered, I believe, the LEDs and the ESP32? I forget which ones it powered. The 5-volt powers the LEDs and the amp. And there's a 3.3-volt rail that powers the ESP32 logic. And Max burned his way through and leaked out of the 3v3 rail. And how that happened was Blendster, he had my components and he was teaching me how to do things over Zoom. And he was like, that's weird. Why is the voltage meter slowly ticking up from 3.3? That should not happen. And that fried everything downstream. We got blinky lights, we had no audio. So then we had to change the footprint because neither of us took the time to check that footprint. Your first PCB will have a very stupid mistake, probably several of them. It's fine. Order more than you need. One of the most important lessons. Learn when to call in the cavalry. I definitely have a farther wall than I should of like, I should really call for help with this. Show of hands, who's ever really experienced like some kind of imposter syndrome? Yeah, a lot more people than my other questions. That's what I thought. It's natural, especially when you're trying something new and you want to be really good at it. This was all new to me. This was all felt like really new territory. And I struggled for longer than I should. But call in your network, call in your friends. They're there for a reason. And if you're thinking like, wow, I don't really have like a whole lot of those, or I don't really know who I would call for this or how I would learn this, Groups like this are exactly where that starts. I run my own DEF CON group I have for the past 10 years because I didn't want to go all the way to New York or I didn't want to go like all the way to Jersey or Philly to go do things. So I made my own team. I made my own group. This Hack Glasgow is absolutely fucking amazing, but if you are further out in a different country, start your own group. Get some like-minded people together. Things that I would do differently, check all the goddamn footprints. Read the data sheets, make sure that I'm doing it the right way. Start ordering the parts sooner, admit defeat sooner, and by the way, spend more time on things like Udemy has amazing, amazing videos for super cheap. I don't know if they're going to pull the same advertising bullshit that they pull in the States where you Google them, it seems super low, and then you Google them a second time, and then it's like the bigger price, and then you go incognito, and then it goes lower again. That's a weird fucking marketing thing. Yeah, just these are things that I will try not to do in the future, and maybe I'll remember not to do at least 2 of these. One of my other favorite tools that I use is I had a little handheld recorder. When you're deep into a project, you might not remember everything that you saw and you felt. I'm a very mushy person emotionally. I can be very expressive, and I wanted to capture that. So I recorded a bunch of shit in the beginning, and so all the quotes you're about to see are literally from my own mouth going through this process. Current times I have thought about abandoning this shit altogether. 12. I was maybe about 2 months in at this point. Pay attention to the errors. Who knew? They're there for a reason. You dumb bitch. That's verbatim. That's what was on the audio recordings. And then I go, this just shows you the ebbs and the flows of your emotional state when you do something like this. I might not be as stupid as I thought. Everything's working. I am so fucking stoked. I'm so fucking over it. This was that same day, I think. Running all over these fucking wires. It doesn't make any sense. Audio sucks. It was broken. But this is but I did include one thing here that I really wanted to make sure I got out if I ever gave this talk. Because I didn't think anybody would ever give a shit about this. I want to make this point now because I'll forget later. Since I really started working on this, it was probably less than a month at this point. But I couldn't have done this without doing the previous 10 months. The innumerable hacker boxes, the videos that I watched, but most importantly, my friends like Russ and Blenster that really came to my aid. 10 months, it was pretty much what it took to get from napkin to this thing around my neck. By the way, this thing I'm wearing around my neck, if you stick around for the after party, this is one of the prizes for our contestants. So get good, and if you want this, it'll be yours, in addition to some other stuff. Another big lesson learned, the universe decides when you're done, not you. I finally got everything in. The last parts came. All of this was assembled at the shop. There were still a couple of what we call hand soldered parts. It was the battery packs and the speaker. So the shop had to send those. They forgot the speakers. 2 more days delay. By this time, it's Friday before Black Hat where I had to go. And then so I had to call in my crew. We set up on my kitchen table, did some last-minute QA, did about 6 or 7 different firmware changes because it was eating up battery. There's always going to be something. Don't do what I did. You're going to, because people told me the same thing. Don't do what we did. Plan further ahead. And yet I still did the same thing that they did. At least I didn't have to take a soldering iron on the airplane like so many people do. That is a thing. A lot of the Badge Life people will be in their suites in their hotel rooms, soldering last minute, trying to get things working. Packing it all up, shipping, this me literally on my couch, stuffing it with the lanyards. Can't tell if badge or just a bunch of Coke. That must have been fun going through TSA. And I just really like this picture. These are some parking garages in Chicago, and those are my badges sitting on my counter as I'm trying to QA them all. It's not important, but I thought it was funny. And then I'm sitting in the hotel room the other night, and I was like, I wonder what Claude thinks about all this, because why shouldn't we? So I said, if you could tell the Glasgow audience some things, what do you think with all of our past chats and stuff, what would you tell them? And he's like, I got thoughts. Okay. But this actually is some pretty good advice, I think. The gap between how the parts are documented and how they actually behave when you're soldering at 2 a.m. Is where the actual engineering lives. And make no mistake, again, use Claude, use Chat, whatever you want to use, but at a certain point, you're going to be the hands on the PCB. When the reality and your assumption disagree, the assumption is usually the cheaper thing to change. Entire design and footprint changes are a son of a bitch. This badge taught us, we're like a couple, it's cute. It's getting kind of serious. To not guess which layer the ghost is haunting, because there were a couple different things with the audio and things like that that we made assumptions over. Things that I don't want you. These came from me. This wasn't the robot. You can do the thing that you are thinking about doing. But the only way to start is just by beginning. Just do it. AI isn't going anywhere. While it's a force multiplier, you should be able to explain. I've hammered on that a bunch of times already, and I'm running up on time soon. These things do indeed take a village. My life changed forever when I discovered hacking. And I was in my mid-30s when I ever went to my first DEF CON. So it's not too late. There are a ton. I wish I got overseas sooner. You guys have such amazing conferences out here, stuff like the Chaos Computer Club, and like I'm trying to broaden my own worldview to not be that guy that only stays in my own continent. But the universal thing here is that these things take a village, and these villages need villagers. Be the helper that you're looking for with somebody else. Try harder. There's a crew called Rand0h. They built a CTF out of a goddamn snack machine. He's literally named Snacky. Look it up. He's amazing. There's always another way. Scope creep is indeed a giant son of a bitch. Know when enough is enough. We all want to make the thing cooler and go faster and go brighter or whatever. Just keep that in mind. So all that being said, through the late nights, the self-doubt, shit frying, thinking I'm a burden to my friends, because that's just how my brain works, would I do it all again? You're goddamn right I would. And I'm already planning my next one, knowing exactly what it entails. Oh, I was going to give you a KiCad tour, and I forgot. I think I'm running out of time anyway. What's that?
I love how the same picture is not.
He's a beauty. He needs to be in every slide deck that was at this conference. This is one of those things, if you want to take a picture of it, I'm sure this will be recorded later. Resources out the ass. PCBWay, JLPCB for ordering, Adafruit. The thing you're also going to run into if you're curious about this is you're going to have to source your parts from a lot of different places. Learning, HackerBoxes, Udemy. There's this one really lovely kit, especially if you have kids that are like technically inclined or you want them to be. It's called 30 Days Lost in Space. That actually taught me more about breadboarding than any video that I watched. They have cute little videos. It's pretty amazing. And of course, the DigiKey learned to breadboard. What the fuck is that doing in there? That's weird. Claude must have hallucinated again.
No, it's Scotland, not UK. It needs to be Scotland, not UK.
He hallucinated. It wasn't my fault. I think that kind of covers it. So if anybody has any questions, I'll gladly take them. I've talked for a whole shit ton of time. And if not, thank you so much for having me. Thank you for enabling me to have this adventure and hang out with a lot of you. I loved it. I definitely can't wait to come back. And thanks for enabling first-time speakers and other foreigners to come here. And I really appreciate it.